Hey guys, so this is going to be tips for writers. So let's just get started. And this is not scripted, so it's probably going to be kind of bad, but these are some tips that I can think of on the top of my head. So number one, I think, is the most important: never give up. No matter what happens, no matter how many followers, how many no's, what people say, what you think, never stop writing. If you want to write, you just write. Honestly, every writer has to start somewhere. If you don't get a lot of no's, you don't get a lot of followers, you think that you're not worth it, or you think that no one's reading, blah blah blah, you just keep doing it. The longer you do it, the more people will notice you and the more people will stick with you. Like, if you really put your heart into something, people can tell. Like, if you write a story that you don't like, or that you just write because somebody requested you to do it or something like that, it's not going to turn out well, and people can tell. Like, if you really love your stories, you love what you're doing, people will tell, and then people would like you and people will follow you. Like, just never give up. Okay, don't let anyone tell you that you're not worth it, or like no one's ever gonna read it, or blah blah. Don't let yourself bring you down. You just keep doing it, okay? You just don't stop. Just never stop, okay? But if you really love writing, you should continue your passion. You just should never stop what you love. No matter what people say or what you think, just never let people bring you down. Oh, there's a fly outside my window. That is so scary. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. So never stop writing, okay? This is the biggest tip that I can give anyone. Just one day you'll get there. Just believe me, okay? Like, you might not be as fast as other people, you might not be as good as other people, might not be as popular as other people, but you will get there. It is a will, okay? You will get there one day. As long as you continue writing, you never give up, you will get there. Number two, when you have writer's block, I think this is a very big problem for a lot of writers. When I get writer's block, I just stop writing. Like, I just go out, take a rest, watch some TV, read a book, go online, search up some stuff. Usually it's like EXO stuff, like EXO videos or like EXO fanfiction, and then even like as I read other people's stuff, I get ideas. Like, if I'm writing a mafia fiction, I just go read like maybe a mafia fiction from someone else, and then I'll be like, hey, that's a really good idea. How can I incorporate this into my own story? And like you shouldn't plagiarize, of course, but like, how do you like kind of use that idea and make it your own, and then you can make it your own special, unique thing, and then make people like it. Like, I just other people give me inspiration, and then sometimes I go on like car rides or like bus rides, and then I just stare at the sky, and then sometimes I can get inspiration that way. Yeah, just take a rest. You can just stop for a few days, maybe like a week, or like you can start writing something else, like maybe a one-shot or another series that you have. That's why I have multiple series, because when I'm stuck on one, I can just write another one, and then yeah, it really helps to have ongoing stuff. It can be kind of a hassle, but it works with writer's block. Or you could show your friends, your family, your teacher what you have so far, and then ask them for their opinion. What do you think should happen next? Do you think this is good enough, or blah blah blah? And a lot of people can give you really good advice, because it's a fresh pair of eyes, it's a fresh way of thinking, and yeah, other people can help. You can also force yourself to write. Like, just keep typing. Type. It doesn't matter what you type. It can be absolute utter trash, but just keep typing, and then eventually you might get into the zone, and then you can just start throwing stuff out, and then you can always go back to edit. So it doesn't really matter like if you're typing trash right now, you can just go back and delete it. But if you find yourself being able to get into the zone, then that's great. So that's what I have for writer's block. Another tip is that you should never be afraid to show it to people. Like, if you've read it over several times, you feel like you're stuck, or like you can't catch any more grammar mistakes, you should always show it to someone, and then they might be able to catch something you didn't. Because there was one time I wrote a story, I read it over several times, I showed it to my teacher several times, and then we felt like it was okay, and then it was for a contest, a writing contest, so I submitted it, and then afterwards I showed it to my mom. After I submitted it, okay, I showed it to my mom, and then she caught like one of the biggest grammar mistakes ever. It was horrifying, and I can't believe that me and my teacher could not catch it. Like, I think we just read it so many times that we just skipped it. And then my mom was a fresh pair of eyes, so she's like, this is wrong, this is not correct grammar. And I'm just like, oh my god. I still got like 3rd place though, so thank god. I hope the judges didn't really catch that, but okay. Other writing tips, especially for Tumblr, is that you should tag. Like, I know a lot of people just, oh my god, you should use less tags, why do you use so much tags, it's so weird, blah blah blah. I don't know, like, people have a mindset like you should, if you get a lot of notes without a lot of tags, you're special, or like you're amazing, or like you're just better. Like, but honestly, if you want to get your story out there, if you want to get more notes, get more views, get more feedback, you should tag everything relevant, okay? Like, if it's about EXO, you should tag EXO. If you shouldn't like be EXO BTS GOT7 Monster X, you shouldn't like, just for the sake of getting it out there, you shouldn't like add in random tags that have nothing to do with your story. Like, for me, I often use like the same tags because my stories are just all EXO fanfiction, so I just use like EXO, EXO-L, EXO scenarios, EXO series, EXO fanfiction, EXO story, and then I just like write a whole bunch of notes. And then if it's a member, that I'm just like Baekhyun, Baekhyun, Byun. Sometimes, like, I don't really use their last names, but I used to. But then I realized that there's a tag limit, so then I stopped it. And then if it's like Lay, that I write like Zhang Yixing, Lay, you know, and then EXO Lay or something like that. Like, just tag. Tag's very important. You should also follow other people or like comment on other people's work, because then other writers will notice you, and then they might check out your work and they'll be like, hey, this person always follows me, always comments, and is a follower, and blah blah, maybe I should check them out. And sometimes people will check you out if you like comment a lot or like their posts a lot, and then they might realize that, hey, you're a writer too, I'll help promote you and stuff like that. And then yeah, so you should use connections with other people. Another writing tip is that you should use a thesaurus sometimes, because you don't want to keep repeating words. Like, for example, if you want to say, let's just say someone is angry, okay? If you say angry, it's really like really lower school, middle school kind of levels. So if you're trying to say that someone is angry, let's search some words up right now. So angry on a thesaurus, he is very annoyed, he is cross, he is irritated, he is irked, he is furious, he is enraged. There's so many things. Like, if you say that he is angry compared to he is furious, like, you can already tell a difference. People would like to read furious more than, oh, he's angry, okay? And then he's happy, or he's overjoyed, or he's sad, or he's in agony, you know? Like, the words really matter. It just sounds more sophisticated and stuff like that. But you should also never use a word that you don't know how to use. Like, if it's a really big word, you've never even heard of it, you don't know how to put it in a sentence, don't use that, okay? Use words that you actually know, but also sound sophisticated, like excruciating, you know? Another writing advice is that I actually kind of struggle with this, because I am more of the, I don't plan my stories. Like, I just start writing and then I just see wherever it takes me. A lot of writers, they like literally they plan out everything. They have a perfect plot, everything is tight and stuff like that, and I'm just not that kind of person. I have no time to plan, I have no patience to plan, I just write. If I want to write, I just write. So, but I think it is important to like keep stuff consistent. Like, for example, if you started this story saying that your character is 12, you shouldn't suddenly say that she's 20, okay? That just doesn't make any sense, and it's very confusing for the readers. So you should always like stay consistent. Sometimes if you're like me, you should sometimes keep notes. Like, okay, in chapter 3 I wrote that she has brown hair, and then when I write chapter 10 and then I'm referring to her hair, I have to remember that she has brown hair, not like blonde, okay? So if you're a writer like me who doesn't plan, you should probably like write down some really important points about your characters or like about the plot, so that you don't forget and that you can keep it consistent. But if you're a planner, then that is amazing. You are amazing, and I really look up to you because I cannot plan. Plot holes. I feel like I have a lot of plot holes in my stories. I feel like when I write, I think of something like, oh my god, I should totally include this. Like, it's kind of like a trivia thing, but I should totally include it, and then I forget, and then I feel disappointed in myself, and I want to go back and add it, but I just don't know how. So if you have like any thoughts or ideas, you should definitely write them down and then refer back to them later. Sometimes I have snippets. I have this, sometimes I like think of something that happens in the future, maybe 3 chapters ahead, and then I just like write it in a document, and then I label it snippets. And then snippets is like when you're stuck or something, you can just copy and paste what you wrote before, and then you can put it in there, and then you can just like connect the dots, and then yeah, that's what I do. Also, you should never have like really short sentences or like run-on sentences. Like if it's a style that you're going for, like you want this particular character to be really cold and short, and like all his sentences are really short and stuff like that, and sure, yeah, you can go for it. There's always exceptions, but like overall, nobody wants to read like really choppy sentences like he ran, he ate, he slept, he talked. Like that, you should add more description. But also you shouldn't add too much description. Like one sentence shouldn't be the length of a paragraph. Run-on sentences is a problem a lot of writers have. Like, they just keep writing, and then when you look at it, you're just like, is this a single sentence? Oh my god. I sometimes have this problem. Like, I feel like it worked personally because, like, I don't know, when I read it, it looks fine, but like when I show my teacher, she's just like, oh my god, is this one single sentence? Girl, you gotta cut it. And then I have to like add a period somewhere and then make it into 2 sentences or sometimes even 3. And then I think this is important because if an audience is reading this out loud, they need to be able to breathe, okay? Like you cannot have a sentence that goes on forever. When do you breathe? Literally. When do you pause? When do you stop? You have to have a shorter sentence instead of a paragraph long sentence. And also, you should stay on topic. You should stay focused. For example, I once read this person's story, and she's actually an amazing writer. Like, her writing is really, really good. But sometimes she just like she derails. Like, for example, she was talking about how she was walking on the streets in the rain, and then all of a sudden she started talking about God because she said, oh God, once. Like, it was just like, literally, she was just like, oh God, it's really raining today, and then she started talking about religion and then God, and then how she always says, oh God, and I'm just like, what does this have to do with your story, okay? What is your point? Where is this going, okay? Where is she trying to go? Why is she out on the rain? Like, what does this have to do with religion? Nobody cares, okay? Oh God is a very common phrase. Like, people just say it without even thinking about religion. So just don't include it, okay? Like, you gotta stay focused. You gotta stay on the point. People will get bored. Like, what is this person trying to say? I don't even want to read this anymore. Okay. Done. And then you lose your audience focus, and then that's the end. So you really, really have to stay focused, and then you should start a story not exactly in the beginning. Like, sometimes you shouldn't write chronologically. Sometimes you should start in the middle of a story. Like, for example, if your getting chased by this gang of people, and that's your story's plot, then you should start by your character running away from that gang instead of, oh my god, so today I started off my day with breakfast and blah blah blah, I went to work. Nobody cares, okay? They care about you getting chased. They don't care about your breakfast, okay? So that's, sometimes you should just start right in the middle of the story and then go back, step back, and then tell your audience what happened, because then they will want to know what happened instead of, okay, so she's having breakfast, why do I care? What is the point of this, you know? Summaries are very, very important, because a lot of people, they just read the summary, and then if they don't like it, they don't read it. And if they like it, they're probably going to click and read your story. So summaries, it shouldn't be like literally a summary. It should be like clickbait, you know? Like, going back to the getting chased by a gang example, if I was going to write a summary, I'm going to be like, oh my god, they're after me. Will I ever make it out alive? You know, stuff like that. It shouldn't be like, okay, so this girl meets this guy who was in a gang, and then now they want her. Like, that's not, you should think about it. Like, if I read this without knowing anything about the story, would I want to read it? You know, it should be really interesting, it should be really intense, it should be something that, oh my god, I am so interested, you have totally got my attention, I want to read it. You know, it shouldn't be like, okay, so this story is about a gang. You know? And titles are also so important, because titles are also what people are going to base their judgment on whether they should read or not. Like, if you have a really boring title, then nobody's gonna read it. If you have a really catchy title, then people are gonna read it. So, and it should also be really relevant to your story. Like, if your story is about vampires, it should probably be something about like blood or like fangs, or like, it shouldn't be something about like, I don't know, flowers, unless they can, if the plot has something to do with flowers. Like, just make it really relevant but also really interesting. Like, it's so hard to explain, and I'm sweating. But yeah, titles are also really important. And usually I use like one word titles, because I don't know, I feel like that makes a bigger impact, and it also brings greater curiosity. Like, blood, what does that mean? Is there going to be blood in the story, or is it about family, or like, you know what I mean? And sometimes people use like really long titles, and I feel like long titles kind of like lose, for me personally, long titles lose my attention. Like, the title's already so long, it's just, how am I gonna get through your story if your story is equally as long as this title? Okay, that is just what I think. So, and oh my god, your first chapter is just really, really important. Like, going back to my previous tip about like starting in the middle of the story, sometimes like, it's just so important. Your first chapter is what audiences is going to read first. This is what will get their attention. This is what will make them want to read more. Okay, like, you have to make your first chapter really interesting. It cannot be about this girl's day, okay? It has to be like something big, like, okay, something explodes, or this girl falls from a cliff, or this guy receives information that his target is found, or something. You know, it has to be really interesting. It has to be really catchy. It can't be about a girl waking up and then eating breakfast. Really, it cannot, okay? Epilogues, like the endings of the story, is also really, really important. Like, you can have a really strong beginning, you can have a really strong plot, you can have all those stuff, but if you have a really weak ending, the whole entire experience just kind of like fades away. So you have to have a really strong ending. You have to, sometimes I really struggle with this. Like, I don't know how to end a story, so I don't really know what kind of advice I can give you, but you should keep in mind what your ending should be like. Like, should this person die? Should this person get married? Should they end up together? Like, you have to have like some kind of idea of how this story should end when you write it. And that's going to help a lot, because then you know where your story needs to go, where it should end, and so that instead of just dragging on forever, or like you don't know what else to write, you know. I think that's pretty much what I have right now. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment or to message me in Tumblr. My Tumblr is kimjongdaily.tumblr.com. And yeah, I hope this kind of helped you a bit. Like, I know a lot of them are really vague. I just don't know how to explain it sometimes. One more really big advice I have for you is that you should always read. There are 2 things that makes a good author, and that is, 1, you should read a lot. Like, if you read a lot, you will learn a lot. Like, oh my god, this author uses this way to phrase this thing. Like, there was one time I read a story where this person said that there was a caterpillar of worry on her face, and so literally she was saying like the character furrowed her brows, and then she used caterpillar, which was a very new way to describe it. Like, normally people would be like, oh my gosh, she furrowed her brows, or like, you know, like that, you know. But then she said that it's a caterpillar. It's a caterpillar, literally a caterpillar on her face, because she's furrowing her brows so much that they're touching and they look like a caterpillar. And then it actually works, because it does look like a caterpillar. So I learned something new. Like, I can use that in the future if I want to. And there's so many things that people use, like this new word that they use, and it sounds amazing, and I should use that. Like, you learn so much from reading other people's stuff, and then you also get so much inspiration. So you should always read. It doesn't matter what you're reading. It could be fan fiction, it could be an actual novel, it could be classics, it can be anything. Just read. And also, the second one is that you have to practice. You cannot just read something. Like, of course, like, as I just said, reading is important, but if you like just read and you do nothing but just read, your writing will not be good. Like, you have to practice. If I read my first ever series on fanfiction.net, it is so cringeworthy. It is just horrible. Like, bleh. And then if you compare that to what I have right now, it's like such a big difference. And this only happened in a few years. Like, if I read my first story on Tumblr and then my latest story on Tumblr, there's already a really big difference, and it's only been a year. Like, you have to practice. You have to keep writing. It doesn't matter what you write, you just have to keep writing, okay? This is one of the biggest tips that I can give you guys. You have to keep writing. It's kind of like drawing. If you stop drawing for a while, you just kind of lose the touch. You have to keep doing it. You have to, like, maybe write, like, I don't know, a paragraph every day if you have time. Like, you just cannot stop. Okay, if you like stop for a long time, then you like, it's hard to pick it up again. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really hope this was helpful for you guys. I really tried my best. This was not scripted. This was completely off the top of my head, so it's kind of all over the place, but I really want to help you guys. And honestly, I'm not the best writer, so there's a lot of things that I'm still learning as well. So if I ever learn something new, I'll probably tell you guys. And if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to ask me. Check the card for my K-pop reactions, my previous video, and please subscribe if you think we earned it. So thank you. Bye. Not exactly normal, but like, it's more everyday life. Like, these are just normal people, but